Hi, I'm Micah with Plan Your Federal Retirement, and I am really excited to be here with you today, introducing not only a great friend, but a wonderful advisor to the Plan Your Federal Retirement community. John has joined our team. This is John Raliegh, and John is from Sarasota, Florida. John, thanks for being here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
So John is an advisor with over 20 plus years of experience. Is that right?
Long time, yes.
Yeah, 20 plus years of experience. And one of the things I'm really excited about having John join our community is for the last 20 years, you've been helping clients, not only helping them retire, but really creating an income stream that they can never outlive.
Right. And very, very important for retirees, for sure. If you don't have that retirement income stream coming in and you don't have the comfort of knowing that it's coming in, it makes retirement so stressful, especially as time goes on through retirement.
Boy, I think you just nailed it on the head, right? If you don't have the comfort of knowing that income is coming in. Mm-hmm. So speaking of comfort, or maybe discomfort, so right now we have a lot of market volatility that's happening. Now, as we see this market volatility, I look at it and say, this is nothing new, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen this and been this before. Yeah. But what are some things our retirees should be thinking about, whether they're getting ready to retire or just now retired?
With the environment and the climate that we're dealing with, especially with the ups and downs of the market, if you have the consistent income coming in and you know you have your lifestyle expenses in line and you're able to manage the expenses, most of the times you can get through these down markets without there being any significant long-term effects on your retirement situation.
Perfect. And I think that's a key thing right there, right? So often we start to look for the shiny object, the shiny new thing, right? That we want to do. If I do this one thing, then magically it'll fix what's going on in retirement. But it sounds like it's really back to fundamentals. Whether we want to use a cool sports analogy, whether we want to use anything else, it's the basics in here that we have to have solid. And the basics we like to call is cash flow management. What is your cash flow doing?
It's discipline for sure too. And that's part of it. If you don't take care of your personal situation and you don't adjust what you're doing to how market conditions are, for example, it may make sense if you're looking at maybe purchasing a car or whatever during a time frame like this to maybe put it off for a year or two if you can, just to help maintain your lifestyle and maintain the long-term nature of the portfolio.
That's right. So these are really important things that we're going to be diving more in depth in with John. So we kind of talked a little bit about highlights, and we're going to get into very soon kind of the nit and gritty of how you need to apply this into your individual retirement plan. So hit the like button, subscribe. We'd love to hear your comments and questions. And until next time, happy planning.
Happy planning. Have you ever wondered about the importance of checking your beneficiary designations? If so, stay tuned for the next episode of the FERS Federal Fact Check. Hi, I'm John Raleigh with Planning Your Federal Retirement, and today we have a question from David. David writes, my wife and I have updated our wills 2 years ago. It states that all of our assets are to go to the survivor, and if something happens to either one of us. When the survivor dies, it then goes to our 2 children. We've made the estate the beneficiary of our life insurance, annuities, IRA, and TSP. How often do we need to review our beneficiaries and estate plan? David, great question. And really, it's important that you're understanding to take a look at this estate plan situation. If you think about it, one of the main reasons it's important to be clear is because you're not here to answer the questions that might need to be asked. There might be reasons you have assets going to a specific individual or in a specific way. And if you're not here to help people understand it and you haven't discussed it or you haven't exposed individuals that are going to be involved to it, they may not know, and they may not know why. Inadvertently, it may cause some hard feelings. It may cause some issues that, why did this happen and this should have happened or whatever. So it's best to make sure it's perfectly clear. The interesting thing about beneficiary designations, and most people are unaware of this, is that beneficiary designations do not direct the monies or these assets to your will or your trust or any other estate planning documents unless it says to do that. So in other words, if you mark in your beneficiary designations as the estate, then the estate will direct it to the will, and the assets will be distributed based on the way the will, the trust, or any other asset that estate planning document you have in place will be done. If you do not have it listed as the estate, the beneficiary is the estate, then of course it goes to the individuals that you have designated for them to go. Now, there can be really, really important tax reasons to do this. So understanding how beneficiary designations work is important. What happens is when you have your TSP, you have your annuity, you have life insurance, you have assets that allow you to put beneficiaries on the particular asset. What that does is that actually circumvents the will. That beneficiary designation will direct the money to the individuals or wherever you'd like it to go without going through the process of going through the will. That means that it allows maybe some options, especially for individuals that receive TSP, IRAs, tax-deferred assets, some options and distributions that might help save them in taxes, that putting it through the will or the trust or any estate planning document may not. So there are some advantages to understand the flow and making sure the flow works. What also happens if you want to designate specific assets to somebody? So let's say you have the two children that you have there, and the assets will go to the two children when both of you are no longer here. What if one is more successful than the other? Would it make sense then maybe to put a tax-deferred vehicle to somebody who is less successful financially because their tax bracket would be lower? And then this way you can move the assets around and make it move and happen more efficiently to your heirs. In your situation, David, all the money goes to the surviving spouse. And that's a pretty clean, simple way to be able to handle things. And really, if you don't want to spend a lot of time controlling the money after the grave, it's a really, really efficient way to get it done. The only issue you run into is when you're gone, then you have to rely on your spouse to have the money go to where it wants to go. In your situation, it sounds like it's a first marriage and you just have the two kids. So that makes it pretty efficient. If you're in a situation with multiple marriages where you've had divorces and maybe children that with other spouses, then it really can get a little messy, and making sure the flow works and works efficiently and the way you want to do it. Also, depending on your circumstances, there's been many times we've seen beneficiary designations not updated and maybe an ex-spouse receiving money. And that may or may not been what you wanted to do, but that is the outcome that happens, and you're not here once again to tell us. So David, it sounds like you guys have done some great things. I would look at the beneficiary designations associated with your life insurance, your pension, your annuity, your TSP, and those sort of investments to make sure the flow is going to be as efficient as possible. Probably best, too, to put in your calendar that when you go to review maybe your taxes every year, if you review your taxes, whether it's done in April or in March or April where you're compiling everything for the taxes to be done, or if you do tax planning in November and like that, you can check off and say, okay, I want to do my beneficiary designations and review them too to make sure it's in place. That little bit of time put forward can save you a bunch of time and a bunch of issues when you're no longer here to answer the questions. So David, I hope this answers your questions. If you don't understand the concepts, that's okay. Hire a competent financial advisor to help you out. If you'd like to work with us, go ahead and check out our website, planyourfederalretirement.com. We'll be happy to set up an initial consultation with you to help answer your specific questions. And until next time, happy planning.